Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. As you can see up on the screen right now, today we're going to be talking about Cloud9 Perkz. He was one of the biggest, if not maybe the biggest story from the entire offseason, him leaving G2, heading over to North America, heading over to Cloud9. Maybe you could consider Reckless going over to G2 the biggest story of the offseason. I probably would. But Cloud9 Perkz was for sure up there. One of the biggest roster moves really in League of Legends esports history. I mean, a guy of his caliber going from AD carry to mid lane, going from EU, G2, one of the best teams in the world, over to North America, over to Cloud9, getting the amount of money that he's getting paid, but then also G2 getting the amount of money that they got. It was just absolutely insane. And now obviously this season, North American fans, Cloud9 fans, everyone is just so excited to have Perkz over here and to see what the Cloud9 team and roster can do, especially over the course of the season, and then hopefully by the end of it they can be a great thing for North America and finally get us out of groups at Worlds, which we have not done for the last 2 years. But Perkz, in a recent interview, talked about this offseason a little bit and how things almost went a lot differently, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this video today. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys are not already subscribed, click that subscribe button really quick. I think that 70% of the people that watch my videos on a consistent basis are not subscribed. So you, right now, watching this video, you've probably seen some of my other videos. I probably come up in your recommended feed all the time. I get a lot of comments about that. So, hey, why not subscribe? Why aren't you subscribed? You might as well just help me out a little bit, run that number up. Also, drop a like on this video if you do enjoy it. If you if you want to help support my content, or if you just enjoy any of my videos or anything like that, because it helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm, I would appreciate it. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get right into today's video. So what we're talking about today is this interview with Perkz. This is Travis Gafford, posted his Perkz extended interview. He got a 23 almost minute video interview with Perkz, which is awesome because if you know, these interviews are tough to get. Obviously, Travis Gafford has all the connections in the world, has pulling all the strings. He works super hard to get amazing content like this done. So you guys should definitely go check him out over on his channel. Here's the video if you guys want to go watch it as well. You have the title, you have his channel, you have everything you need to go check that out. But shout out to him for getting this done, because again, Perkz is a super busy guy. Everyone wants to interview him. Everyone wants to talk to him. And I know Travis had said this is an interview he was working for a while, and LCS fans and League of Legends fans in general really do appreciate great long form content like this. But he asked Perkz a ton of questions about how this offseason went, how things are going in NA, what things are looking like going forward, and Perkz really gave some candid answers. He really just was straight up with him, and it seemed like he really opened up to Travis, which is awesome to hear. It really takes a skilled interviewer to be able to get answers like that out of people, but also Perkz is kind of peeling back that layer where usually he gives this meme just guy that talks a bunch of trash and is super crazy and stuff. He really kind of showed a more personal side in this interview, and it was nice to see. There's a lot of good questions, a lot of good answers in it. Again, definitely go check this out. But what we're more worried about today is the part where Perkz talked about what happened this offseason, how he ended up at Cloud9, and kind of the steps that led him to being here. So let's watch these clips real quick. We'll play a little bit. I'll pause it. I'll talk, and we'll get through it.
I had like plenty of offers from LCK and LPL as well, and for me going to those regions, it was just very scary because I felt like I would be like really homesick, and honestly, like even here, like I would fear.
So that was something I want to talk about real quick. This is something we had talked about a little bit in the offseason already. I think I made some videos that Perkz did get some offers from the LCK and LPL. I think that's kind of common knowledge at this point, but that is pretty crazy to hear because, again, everyone always talks about how the Korean players and Chinese players and everyone is way better than EU, way better than NA. And it's so interesting to me to think about how would a guy like Perkz be able to go do over in the LPL, be able to do, how would he do over in the LCK when he's getting to play a Korean solo queue all the time or Chinese super solo queue all the time, but also scrimming with those teams, scrimming with those coaching staffs, getting to be in that environment where, a lot of people think that it really helps players get way better. Honestly, I don't think the gap is necessarily on a like individual level of these players. I think Perkz could absolutely go over to the LCK, to the LPL and do just fine. But it's just when the players as a whole, or just, and G2 has done fine the last couple of years. It's just because they lose in the World Finals or in the semifinals or whatever, they're losing to the very best teams in the LCK and the LPL. That doesn't mean they wouldn't be fine over in those leagues. But it would be super interesting. At some point, I know we've heard of guys like Reckless, maybe Bjergsen, Double Lift, now Perkz, getting offers from LCK, getting offers from LPL, and considering going over there. And I want to see it happen at some point. Like, I hate losing talented players from the West, but I also am so curious to see how somebody would go over there and do. And I just kind of want to see what would happen so we can see who'd be right. Would they do well? Would they do well? Would they do bad or whatever? But I think it is really interesting how he talks about it would be very difficult. Cultural differences, language differences, being homesick. And I completely agree. It would be very hard. It would take a very hard thing, which is playing competitive League of Legends, especially at the highest level, and it would make it even more difficult. And I think it really kind of shows you what these Chinese, Korean, Taiwanese, all these players that come over to Europe, come over to North America, what they go through, and why maybe we see a lot of these imports from China, from Korea, that seem like really good players over there. They come to North America and they don't do so good, and everyone flames them about collecting checks or being washed up or being unmotivated or whatever, when that could be part of it. There are certainly people that just come over for a paycheck or come over to retire or whatever, but also there's so much more going on when there is insane cultural differences. It is tough living in a country where you maybe don't speak the language super well or confidently, and you're homesick, you're halfway across the world. So I think everyone should kind of give more of a benefit of the doubt to the players who are brave enough and kind of strong enough to even try taking that risk. It's got to be a very scary situation, being so many 100 miles away from your family, from your friends, from anyone you know, from any like country or background or environment that you've ever seen before. So yeah, it is crazy that when the Western players get offers from the East, they always say these same things. Yeah, I'm not going to go somewhere where the culture's so different and the language so different or whatever. But oftentimes we see these players coming from the East over, and it's just kind of interesting to me that we've seen some of that stuff, and it hasn't always gone very well, but sometimes it has gone super well. So that's just interesting. I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit, but let's continue.
Really anxious in NA if it wasn't for Zven and Mithy. So that like played a really huge part in taking this decision, this step. Like honestly, if there was no Zven and Mithy, I would have maybe just like taken a split off.
So there is the big thing for me, the biggest thing that I took away from this interview. You know, Perkz in this interview talks a lot about how he was going through a lot of stuff like anxiety and personal struggles. And, you know, he had a crazy year and he's had a crazy last couple of years where he maybe spiraled out of control and got caught up in some things. And, you know, he kind of matured and grew up and realized what's important in life and what he needs to be happy and what he needs. And yeah, a lot of craziness. And just saying that he wanted a familiar situation. He didn't want to go over to the East where it was going to be a whole new thing, and maybe it was going to be really hard for him personally, even if maybe it would help him out in his career a little bit. But since he knew, you know, Zven and Mithy so well, and he has a history with them, and he has a connection with them, and he's such good friends with them, that Cloud9 he talks about it not only being probably the best competitive offer for him, because Cloud9, you know, expects to be a very good team. It allows him to play mid lane at the highest level. They're expected to go to Worlds for NA this year, so he'll have a chance to go back and compete internationally, and they have a chance to maybe win some LCS titles. It's not a bad situation at all in terms of the League of Legends, but also to go somewhere. He talks about how awesome Los Angeles is, how the weather's beautiful, how he likes playing sports, so he can actually like go outside and do different things and be active, and how that's so much better for like his mental health and just his overall life and stuff. But also the fact that he was willing to potentially take a split or a year off is pretty crazy, and that kind of shows you where he was at in terms of his mental state, where he was kind of worried and scared and anxious, and he says that. He says he feels a lot better in North America now. Everything's going well. He's happy. You know, things are going right, and that's awesome to hear, and I'm so glad for him. But man, it just really, you take a step back and you kind of figure out what these players are going through. Even the most successful players, a player like Perkz, who's made insane amounts of money, has found insane amounts of success in professional League of Legends, and you know, most people would say, yeah, he probably has an amazing life, he probably has a great life, but still, the fact that so much can be going on, I am super glad that this opportunity came up for Cloud9 with him, obviously, where he can play mid lane, because that's what he wanted, that's what he said, that's how he fell in love with the game, that's what he was missing, that's how he wanted to get back, but then also to come be with his friends, but also in an environment with Cloud9 that seems very supportive of him. Obviously, the North American fans have received him really well, and even though Cloud9 isn't off to the hottest start, and Perkz personally isn't off to the hottest start, you know, they're in the semifinals of the lock-in tournament. They're going to have a big matchup with 100 Thieves, where Perkz is going to have every opportunity to carry his team to the finals and really get fans excited and feeling good about him and Cloud9. But also he's coming over, making a ton of money. And yeah, I just thought that was really interesting that he had so many different opportunities and offers. Obviously, we knew that. We've heard that, you know, he probably even had offers over in Europe where the money was probably just as good. I know Vitality was throwing around a ton of crazy contracts and stuff. Yes, G2 wasn't going to let him talk to Fnatic, but obviously there was a ton of teams in North America, Europe, China, Korea, everywhere that were interested in Perkz. The bidding war was absolutely crazy. And yeah, so it's just interesting that he had a ton of options at his disposal. and he decided Cloud9 was the best decision. And obviously everyone is very, very excited and very happy that he is back, that he's not taking a split off, that he's not taking a year off, because that would suck. I mean, prime Perkz, one of the best Western League of Legends players of all time, if that's what he needs to get his mind right or to be healthy or to be happy or whatever, great, more power to him. But as a League of Legends fan, as I am, and I'm sure most of you guys are, we want to see the best players playing. Like, to me right now, it sucks that Perkz retired, because he was maybe not at the very top of his game, but he was, playing as good as he ever played, and to lose so many of these guys in the same offseason would really, really suck. So I'm so happy that Perkz decided to keep going. I'm so happy that this opportunity presented himself. And again, just the fact that Cloud9 was able to make these big moves to go get a guy like Mithy, to land a guy like Zven a couple of years ago. And now they're seeing that, yeah, having connections and having players that are connected can really, really be great for your organization. And it's set up Cloud9 in a really awesome opportunity, in a really awesome space. And the fans should be really, really excited about that. And yeah, I know we usually see the meme side of Perkz, the trash talking side, the crazy side. We got to see a little bit more of Perkz, the human being, the person. And that was really, really cool to see. He really got personal. And again, I thought this was an absolutely amazing interview. And I was just really surprised to hear that taking a split off, or taking even a year off of professional League of Legends, was maybe a real option for him. But again, he's saying things are looking good right now. He's saying things are going good. Yes, Cloud9 maybe hasn't figured everything out, but they have a ton of time to do so. The regular season hasn't even started. And on paper, their team is just as talented as any team in the LCS. So I hope Perkz and Cloud9 are able to find a ton of success. I wish them the best. I hope they're very competitive in the LCS this season. I hope, they do well at Worlds, because, I'm all about as many LCS teams getting out of groups as we possibly can. Obviously, Perkz is going to play a big, big part in that. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. It helps me out so much with the YouTube algorithm, and I would appreciate it a ton. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this situation? Would it have been crazy if Perkz took a split off? If he took a whole year off, would you have wanted to see him in the LCK and the LPL? Should he have went to a different European team, North American team? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on anything we talked about in today's video. Definitely subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. I would appreciate that a ton as well. We're trying to hit 7,000 subscribers as soon as we can in 2021. That's a big goal of mine, and that would be awesome. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.